Most people will spend thousands of dollars to protect their house, but freely give away the blueprint to their future. They will hire lawyers to guard their business contracts, but announce their divine assignment to everyone with ears. They will password protect their phones, but leave the door to their destiny wide open for inspection, criticism, and sabotage. Let me submit to you that what you refuse to protect, you give permission to be violated. And in this season, the season where acceleration meets resistance, where promotion meets opposition, where breakthrough meets backlash, there are 3 secrets you must guard as if your life depends on it, because it does. The manufacturer never publishes the formula while the product is still in development. The architect never displays the blueprint while the foundation is still being laid. The government never announces the strategy while the war is still being fought. Yet you, created in the image of the ultimate creator, designed with a specific assignment, called to dominion in a particular territory, have been conditioned to believe that transparency means exposure, that authenticity means announcement, that integrity means you owe everyone an explanation of what you are becoming before you have become it. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of the principle of stewardship, and it is costing you years where purpose is not known. Abuse is inevitable, but let me add to that, where purpose is prematurely announced. Attack is predictable. Your mouth has been writing checks your maturity cannot cash. Your lips have been making promises your character is not yet equipped to keep. And your tongue has been revealing assignments your spirit has not yet been prepared to protect. You don't need motivation. You need revelation. You need to understand that there is a season for silence. And that season is now. Not the silence of shame, not the silence of fear, but the silence of wisdom. The silence of strategy. The silence of someone who understands that every seed planted in public soil rarely produces private fruit. The first secret you must never share, especially in this season, is the full scope of your vision before it has taken root in your spirit. Notice I did not say never share your vision. I said never share the full scope. There is a difference between inspiration and information, between testimony and blueprint, between what happened and what is happening. Most people are not resisting your dream because they don't believe in you. They are resisting it because they were not designed to carry it. And when you give someone a burden they were not built to bear, you create resentment. When you show someone a dimension they were not called to see, you create confusion. When you invite someone into a process they were not assigned to support, you create sabotage. Not because they are evil, but because they are misaligned. Your vision is not a democracy. It is a monarchy. It was not given to you by committee. Therefore, it does not require consensus. The Creator did not gather focus groups before He designed you. He did not conduct surveys before He assigned you. He did not check popular opinion before He positioned you. He spoke, and it was. He commanded, and it stood. And when He downloaded into your spirit the thing you are supposed to build, create, establish, or reform, He gave it to you in seed form, not in tree form. Seeds, by design, are meant to be buried, hidden, covered, protected from exposure until the root system is strong enough to sustain what is about to grow above ground. But you have been trained by a culture of instant documentation to photograph the seed, announce the seed, celebrate the seed before you have ever planted it. And then you wonder why the vision dies before it ever breaks through the soil. Let me submit to you a principle that will change how you steward information, revelation, and vision for the rest of your life. Premature exposure creates predictable resistance. When you announce what you are building before you have laid the foundation, you give opposition time to organize. When you reveal your strategy before you have assembled your team, you give confusion time to mobilize. When you declare your destination before you have counted the costume, you give doubt time to crystallize. The enemy does not need to know your future to attack your present. He just needs you to talk about your future while you are still unprotected in your present. Look at nature. It will teach you what religion will not. The butterfly does not announce its metamorphosis while it is still a caterpillar. It does not hold press conferences from inside the cocoon. It does not live stream the process of transformation. It goes silent. It withdraws. It hides in a season of uncomfortable change. And when it emerges, it does not need to explain what happened. The wings speak for themselves. The flight is the proof. The transformation is the testimony. You, right now, are in a cocoon season, a season where what you were is dying and what you are becoming is not yet ready to be seen. And the worst thing you can do in this season is give people access to a process they were not called to witness. Not everything is for everybody. Not every season is for spectators. And not every level of your life requires an audience. The second secret you must guard in this season is the specific details of your current process, especially when that process involves correction, discipline, or restructuring. This is where most people violate their own future. They confuse community with commentary. They mistake fellowship for forum. They think that because someone is in their circle, they deserve access to their struggle. Let me tell you something that might sound harsh, but will save you years. Most people are not emotionally mature enough to steward your pain. They cannot handle your process because they have not completed their own. They cannot celebrate your discipline because they are still running from theirs. They cannot support your season of correction because they interpret all correction as rejection. And when you share the details of what you are being refined through, restructured for, or prepared by, you open yourself up to misinterpretation, misrepresentation, and manipulation. Here is the manufacturing principle. When a product is being recalled, redesigned, or upgraded, the manufacturer does not announce the defect before the solution is ready. They do not publish the problem while they are still developing the patch. They work in private, test in controlled environments, and only announce when the new version is ready for distribution. You right now are being upgraded. Patterns are being identified. Systems are being debugged. Defaults are being reprogrammed. Limitations are being removed. And this process, this season of recalibration, is not for public consumption. The Creator is doing surgery on your character. And you keep inviting spectators into the operating room. Surgery is not a spectator sport. And transformation is not entertainment. Most people share their process prematurely for one of three reasons: validation, vindication, or victim status. They want someone to affirm that what they are going through is real. They want someone to agree that what they experienced was wrong. Or they want someone to sympathize with how hard their journey has been. But let me submit to you that none of these are sufficient reasons to expose a season that was meant to be private. Validation from people who do not understand your assignment will only delay your progress. Vindication through public testimony will only attract more opposition. And victim status will keep you tied to the very season you are trying to exit. Your process is not your identity. Your struggle is not your story. Your pain is not your purpose. They are tools, instruments, assignments designed to prepare you for a dimension you could not access without them. And when you announce the tool before you have completed the task, you cheapen the outcome. I want to tell you about the farmer who planted a rare seed in his field. This seed, he was told, would produce a harvest unlike anything his region had ever seen. The yield would be so significant that it would change the economy of his entire community. Naturally, he was excited. He told his neighbors. He shared the potential. He described what the harvest would look like, and they seemed supportive. But what he did not realize was that not everyone celebrates what they cannot control. Some of his neighbors, you began to plant weeds in his field at night. Not because they were evil people, but because they could not reconcile their own unproductivity with his pending breakthrough. The seed still grew, but the harvest was delayed. The weeds did not kill the crop, but they complicated the process. And it took the farmer twice as long to produce what should have been immediate. Not because the seed was weak, but because he announced it to people who were not invested in his success. The lesson is simple. Not everyone who claps for you is rooting for you. And not everyone who asks about your progress actually wants to see you prosper. The third secret you must never share is the private instructions you have received from your Creator about timing, strategy, or movement. Let me be very clear. There is a difference between what you have been told to do. And when you have been told to do it, there is a difference between your assignment and your activation, between your calling and your commissioning, between your potential and your permission. The Creator does not give you the full picture at once. He gives you instructions in phases. Step 1, then step 2, then step 3. And each phase comes with specific timing, specific preparation, specific conditions that must be met before you are released into the next dimension. But you have been taught by a culture of instant gratification to assume that knowing your destination means you have permission to start the journey. And this is a deadly assumption. Premature movement. aborts assignment. When you move before you are sent, you arrive before you are ready. When you build before you are released, you construct without covering. When you speak before you are commissioned, you announce without authority. And everything you produce in the wrong season, no matter how anointed it looks, will require twice the energy to sustain and half the impact to deliver. Timing is not just about when. It is about readiness, maturity, alignment, character development, resource allocation, relationship positioning, and spiritual authority. You cannot rush what requires process. You cannot shortcut what demands preparation. And you cannot announce what the Creator has marked as classified until He Himself removes the seal. Most people fail not because they lack vision, but because they lack discretion. They know what they are called to do, but they do not know who they are called to tell. They understand their assignment, but they do not understand the strategy of silence. And because they confuse activity with obedience, they start talking when they should be training. They start building when they should be learning. They start announcing when they should be aligning. And then when opposition comes, when resistance mounts, when people who were once supportive become suddenly critical, they are confused. They cannot understand why doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, is producing the wrong result. And the answer is simple. They violated the principle of confidentiality. They shared a classified instruction with unauthorized personnel. And now they are fighting battles they were never meant to fight, defending positions they were never meant to occupy, and explaining assignments they were never meant to announce. Listen carefully. The Creator speaks in levels. He gives you level 1 information when you have level 1 maturity. Level 2 information when you have level 2 capacity. Level 3 revelation when you have level 3 character. And what He shares with you privately is not meant for public distribution until He Himself makes it public through your results. Your job is not to announce the plan. Your job is to execute the plan. Your assignment is not to convince people of what is coming. Your assignment is to become what is required to sustain what is coming. And the moment you start sharing classified instructions with people who do not have clearance, you compromise the mission. Not because the Creator is secretive, but because the mission requires protection. And you are the first line of defense. I need to pause here and address something, because some of you are thinking, this sounds like isolation. This sounds like secrecy. This sounds like pride. And I want to correct that assumption immediately. There is a difference between isolation and incubation, between secrecy and strategy, between pride and protection. Isolation is withdrawing because you fear connection. Incubation is withdrawing because you are in formation. Secrecy is hiding because you fear exposure. Strategy is withholding because you value timing. Pride is refusing input because you think you know everything. Protection is filtering input because you know not everyone is assigned to speak into your life. What I am teaching you is not about arrogance. It is about stewardship. It is about understanding that not everything you know needs to be said. Not everything you have been shown needs to be shared. And not everything you are experiencing needs to be explained. The principle of the kingdom is simple. Show me your fruit, and I will believe your root. Show me your results, and I will trust your process. Show me your character, and I will validate your calling. You do not need to announce what you are becoming. You need to become it. And when you become it, the announcement will be unnecessary. People will see the shift. They will sense the authority. They will recognize the elevation. And they will not need you to explain it. Because transformation does not require a press release. It requires presence. It requires proof. And it requires the kind of maturity that understands. Not everything that is true needs to be said. Not everything that is real needs to be revealed. And not everything that is happening needs to be documented. Now let me show you how to guard these 3 secrets without becoming isolated, withdrawn, or inaccessible. Because the goal is not to become a mystery. The goal is to become a steward of vision, a steward of process, a steward of instruction. And stewardship always requires wisdom. First, you must learn to distinguish between your inner circle and your outer circle. Your inner circle is made up of people who have proven over time that they are invested in your success, not just impressed by your potential. These are people who have walked with you through seasons where there was nothing to gain, who have supported you when you had no platform, who have prayed for you when you had no profile, who have believed in you when you had no proof. These are not people you collected. These are people the Creator assigned, and they are the only ones who deserve access to the details of your current season. Your outer circle is everyone else. They may be good people. They may even be gifted people, but they are not assigned to the dimension you are walking in right now. And the wisdom is knowing that you do not owe your outer circle the same level of access you give your inner circle. Second, you must develop the discipline of edited testimony. This does not mean you lie. It means you learn to share the lesson. Without exposing the lab, you can testify about what you learned without detailing how you learned it. You can celebrate the breakthrough without documenting the battle. You can declare the victory without describing the valley. There is a way to be authentic without being reckless. There is a way to be transparent without being foolish. And that way is called wisdom. Wisdom knows that not every question deserves a detailed answer. Wisdom knows that not every curiosity requires clarification. Wisdom knows that you can be kind without being comprehensive, gracious, without being generous with information that was never meant for distribution. Third, you must create a filter system for what you share. And when you share it, before you post, before you speak, before you announce, before you testify, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this information mine to share? Or was it given to me in confidence by the Creator for my preparation only? Will sharing this information serve the people I am speaking to? Or will it only serve my need for validation? Is this the right season to release this truth? Or is this a seed that still needs to be buried? These 3 questions will save you from years of unnecessary warfare, years of misalignment, years of explaining what should have been experienced in silence. Because the goal of your life is not to be understood by everyone. The goal of your life is to fulfill assignment. And fulfillment does not require an audience. It requires obedience. Let me tell you about the builder who was hired to construct a building that would become a national landmark. The design was innovative. The structure was unlike anything that had been built before. And because of its uniqueness, the builder knew that if he revealed the plans before the foundation was set, competitors would attempt to replicate it. Critics would attempt to sabotage it. And spectators would attempt to rush it. So he worked in stages. He shared the vision, but not the blueprint. He announced the project, but not the process. He invited investment, but protected the innovation. And when people asked questions, he gave answers that honored their curiosity without compromising his assignment. He was not secretive. He was strategic. He was not distant. He was deliberate. And when the building was finally complete, it stood as a testament not just to his skill, but to his stewardship. He understood that the best way to honor what you have been given is to protect it until it is ready to be presented. You are that builder. Your life is that building. Your assignment is that landmark. And the vision you carry, the process you are in, and the instructions you have received are not public property. They are private trust. And trust, by definition, means you have been given something valuable that not everyone else has access to. The moment you treat your trust as common, you lose the uncommon results that were meant to follow. The moment you share your classified instructions with unauthorized people, you declassify your future. The moment you announce your season prematurely, you extend your season unnecessarily. This is not about being mysterious. This is about being mature. This is not about being secretive. This is about being wise. And wisdom will always choose protection over popularity, strategy over spotlight, and timing over trends. Let me speak to those of you who are in a season where everything is shifting, where what worked before no longer works, where relationships that were once solid are now strained, where doors that were once open are now closed, where clarity that was once constant is now clouded. You are not losing. You are being repositioned. You are not going backward. You are being redirected. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And the worst thing you can do in this season is try to explain it to people who are not equipped to understand it, because they will interpret your silence as rejection. They will interpret your withdrawal as pride. They will interpret your season as separation. And you will spend energy defending a process that does not need defense. It needs completion. Your job right now is not to make people comfortable with your transition. Your job is to remain faithful in your transition. And faithfulness in this season looks like silence, looks like focus, looks like obedience to instructions that make sense to you, but may seem illogical to others. I need you to hear this. especially in this season, where the pressure to document every moment is suffocating, where the expectation to share every struggle is exhausting, where the demand to be constantly accessible is overwhelming. You are not obligated to give people real-time updates on your progress. You are not required to justify your pace. You are not responsible for managing people's expectations of your journey. The only person you are accountable to is the one who gave you the assignment. And he has never asked you to announce what he told you to do. He asked you to do what he told you to do. Obedience is not loud, it is effective. Obedience does not require witnesses. It requires action. And the loudest obedience is the kind that produces results without needing applause, impact without needing introduction, transformation without needing validation. Some of you right now are being prepared for dimensions of influence you cannot yet comprehend, rooms you cannot yet access, platforms you cannot yet imagine, territories you cannot yet occupy. And the Creator, in his wisdom, is not giving you the full picture because you are not yet ready to carry the full weight. He is giving you instructions in stages. And your job is not to skip stages. Your job is not to announce stages. Your job is to complete stages, because every stage you complete in obedience qualifies you for the next stage of assignment. But every stage you announce prematurely delays your transition into the next stage of authority. You are being trusted with more than you realize. And trust is tested by how you handle information, by how you steward process, and by how you guard what has been placed in your care. Now, let me give you 3 immediate actions you must take starting today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. First, conduct an audit of your conversations over the last 30 days. Write down every significant thing you shared about your vision, your process, or your instructions. Then ask yourself, was that information mine to share? Did sharing it serve my assignment? Or did it serve my ego? Did it protect my future? Or did it expose my future? And based on your honest answers, identify who in your life has too much access. Not because they are bad people, but because they are not assigned to the dimension you are moving into. And begin, gently but firmly, to create boundaries. You do not need to announce the boundary. You do not need to explain the boundary. You just need to enforce the boundary. Less information, more focus. Less explanation, more execution. Second, create a 30-day silence discipline around your current season. For the next 30 days, do not post about what you are building. Do not share updates about what you are becoming. Do not give detailed explanations about what you are experiencing. Just work, just build, just obey. And at the end of the 30 days, evaluate whether the silence produced more progress than the announcements ever did. I am willing to submit to you that you will see more movement in 30 days of focused silence than you saw in 3 years of public processing. Not because silence is magical, but because silence protects your energy. It guards your strategy, and it honors the principle that what is done in secret will be rewarded openly. Third, identify one person in your life who has earned the right to access to your season. Not someone who is impressed by your potential, but someone who is invested in your process. Someone who will pray with you when no one is watching. Someone who will correct you when you are wrong. Someone who will celebrate you without competing with you. And give that person permission to ask you the hard questions, to challenge your decisions, to speak truth even when it is uncomfortable. Because the goal is not isolation. The goal is strategic alignment. And you need at least one person in your corner who understands that your silence is not secrecy. It is stewardship. Let me prophesy over your life right now. What you are carrying is bigger than your current capacity. What you have been shown is greater than your present understanding. What you have been instructed to do will require a version of you that does not yet exist. And that version is being formed in the silence, in the hiddenness, in the seasons where no one is watching and nothing makes sense. You are not being forgotten. You are being fashioned. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. And the pressure you feel right now, the tension you are experiencing, the discomfort you are navigating is not punishment. It is promotion. It is the weight of an assignment so significant that your current character could not sustain it. Your present maturity could not steward it. Your existing capacity could not contain it. So the Creator in his infinite wisdom, is stretching you in private so he can trust you in public. Everything you have been through was preparation. Everything you are going through is positioning. And everything you are about to walk into will require that you guard these 3 secrets as if your legacy depends on it. Because it does. Your children are counting on you to protect what has been placed in your hands. Your generation is depending on you to steward what has been downloaded into your spirit. And your assignment will only be fulfilled to the degree that you learn to walk in wisdom. Not just knowledge, not just revelation, but wisdom. The kind of wisdom that knows when to speak and when to be silent, when to share and when to withhold, when to announce and when to execute in secret. You were not created to be average. You were not designed to blend in. You were not called to be a copy of someone else's assignment. You were fashioned in the image of a creator who does not make duplicates. You are an original, a prototype, a first edition. And originals, by nature, are rare. They are valuable and they require protection. The moment you start acting like everyone else, sharing like everyone else, announcing like everyone else, you compromise the very thing that makes you irreplaceable. Your uniqueness is not just in what you can do, it is in how you steward what you have been given. And stewardship in this season requires you to guard the 3 secrets I just gave you with your life. This season is different. The rules have changed. What worked before will not work now. What was acceptable then is dangerous now. And if you continue to operate with old protocols in a new season, you will forfeit opportunities that were designed specifically for this moment. The Creator is accelerating some, elevating others, and eliminating those who refuse to mature. And the distinguishing factor between those who are promoted and those who are passed over is not gifting. It is not even anointing. It is stewardship. It is the ability to handle what you have been given with the kind of wisdom, discretion, and discipline that says, I understand this is not mine, it was given to me, and I will honor the giver by protecting the gift. Be original, not a copy. Be a steward, not just a recipient. Be strategic, not just spiritual. Be disciplined, not just passionate. Guard your vision. Protect your process. Honor your instructions. And when the season shifts, when the door opens, when the platform is ready, you will not need to announce who you have become. Your presence will announce it. Your authority will confirm it. Your results will validate it. And the world will wonder, where were you? And you will smile, knowing that where you were was exactly where you needed to be, hidden, prepared, protected, until the fullness of time. Die empty. The time is now.